Hey guys, it's Kevin over at Keep It Simple Reviews, and today we're going to be going over how to set up your stream using OBS Studio. We're going to be using nothing but the basics, and we're going to be ready to go at the end of the video. Hey guys, alright, so we're just going to get right into it, right? I'm going to keep it simple, and I'm going to go through the entire process here, starting from almost scratch, okay? So, and this video is assuming that you've already downloaded and installed OBS onto your system, okay? So far, the only things that I have done is I've set up my screen capture so you can see my background and my microphone input here. And I'm gonna go through how to set that up again. That way you can see what I did. I just had to do it so I can get this recorded, okay? As you can see, I am recording now. You see stop recording over here. You see stop recording over here. All right, so right here is my audio input, and to set this up was I came to sources, hit the plus button, and I'm looking for audio input capture. Okay, so I'm going to click that. All right, and I'm starting out. You're going to be creating a new one. You can here is where you'll name it, and you want to make sure it's visible. All right, so you want to name it here. So we'll just do mic in. And you're going to click OK. Next, the very next pop-up you see here is going to say properties for whatever you named it. And it's going to be asking you what device is it capturing. So right now I'm capturing from my Mayano K.I.S.R E2, which is something that I'll get into you guys in another video. But I can also set it up to pull audio in from my Fifine headset, which will be right here. All right, and I'll click OK. And then as you can see here, my audio mixer table here, you see my Mayano. This is what's capturing my voice now. This is what you're hearing. You can probably also hear it over here. So let me mute that because I don't actually want that capturing audio. So you'll see over here that I have mic in and my Mayano mic, but see they're two different levels because this is actually picking up from my headset that is sitting next to me. Okay, and then so that's how you set up the audio input, okay? Next, you're going to want to do an audio output, okay? So you're going to go to sources, click the plus again. You're going to do capture audio output capture, okay? And so this is going to be, we'll name this default output, right? Okay, again, you don't have to name it what I'm naming. Naming it, whatever you name it, does not affect the actual function of it. Okay, so we're going to default output. The device is, I usually like to have it set to my speakers and my headset, which will be this one right here. Boom. Now I know for sure whatever I hear in my headset, my stream is going to hear. Okay, we're going to click that. You can test this by playing music or another video, but I know this is good. You can trust me on that. This is good. As long as your system is set to output to your headset, this is what this is gonna pull. A lot of people will say, well, let me just set it to the default, and then your system default is whatever that's set to is what's gonna capture on stream. Right now, you can see here how I'm hitting the audio, the microphone, the volume here, and how Windows makes that little ding noise. OBS is picking it up because that's from my default output. Okay. Next is what I did was I set up my screen capture. Okay, this is how OBS is capturing the actual screen right here, right? So to do that again, you want to come to sources, hit plus. Okay, now we're going to I did display capture. Okay, same thing. You're going to want to name it. We're just going to leave it default. Click OK, and then now you can do capture method, or you can say which display. I have two monitors, so I have two to display right here. I'm not going to save this because you can kind of already see that setup here. Okay, let's see. I'm actually going to delete this. Hit the delete button. Yes, delete that. Okay, and we're going to delete this because I don't need that. I do not need all that on my sources. Okay, and then next we're going to touch on the scenes. Okay, scenes are when you have like a starting now or an ending now. Okay, a lot of times when you import a overlay, they're going to have multiple scenes already set up for you, so you'll actually see a list here. And also, I'm going to be honest, if you do end up importing an overlay from a third party, it's going to come with sources too. You know how all you have to do is just configure where it's pulling those from. But this just for bare minimum, we just have one scene. We're gonna rename it, and we're gonna name this our how-to video, because that's what I'm using it for right now, is to show you guys how to set up this. Okay. Next, you're probably going to be wondering, well, what settings do I need to use to have a good quality stream? Let's touch on this real quick too, because I know you're probably going to have a camera. So let's do this real quick. We're going to do another capture, and we're going to do a video capture device. This is going to be like your webcam, your DSLR, your mirrorless, or your or any other kind of third-party camera that you might have. You're going to same situation. You're going to click the plus, create new. You're going to name it, and I'm going to name this my webcam, because that is what's connected to my computer right now. And for me, I have a couple different options here, but I'm right now with my Logitech Brio. This is my good camera. Hey, you see me? There I am, guys. Resolution type, you're going to want to pretty much set that as device default. And then these two are all, pretty much just leave everything as it is, honestly. Just kind of leave it all as it is, because you don't need to worry about that. You can do configure video to do some basic settings here with like the brightness, contrast, and all that. I try not to mess with that too much, except for the brightness. Sometimes I need to bring it down if my computer is putting too much light on me. I'll kind of bring that down. Or you can also control your zoom. Look at that. Whoa. But let's bring that back down where it was, or the focus. All right, focus. Again, we're not gonna mess with all that, right? All right, so we're just gonna click OK, leave that there. Yeah, you see me, and you can resize that and click and drag it wherever you like it to go, right? And now, just to remind you guys, we're keeping it simple. We're not going to go into all the cool customizations. If you want me to go through all that, just let me know in the comments below, and I'll show you how to import an overlay. But for right now, as it sits, you are almost ready to stream. Okay, you have your input for audio, your output for audio, you have your webcam set up, and you have your capture device, your screen capture. Okay. What I do want to touch on something real quick though as well before we move on to the actual settings. Okay, the screen capture. Okay, so I did a screen capture because I just capture everything on my screen when I'm streaming personally. There is an option to capture just the game, and that is something that is totally up to you. If you want to mess around with that, you can mess around with that. Or if you want to do it like I do it, do it like I do it. It's really up to you. I know sometimes it can be kind of wonky with the game capture, and that's why I just typically just leave it as the actual screen, because I know it's going to capture everything on the screen. And there is an option in the settings to hide OBS, and I'll show you that in just 1 second. Here, watch. Click settings. Some of these things are going to be grayed out or blacked out because I'm currently using the system, and so they don't allow you to make too many changes with that, right? Okay. So for the stream, settings, you're going to, for your service, you want to just pick wherever you're going to be streaming to. If you're streaming on TikTok, that's something totally different, but we're not going to be touching on that because I do not stream on TikTok, and that's something that I'll actually have to look up. But for now, standard is Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook Live, or you can do a multi-stream and just suit it straight to Restream.io, right? So I just do Twitch. It's going to ask you to log into your Twitch account, and then it's going to kind of link all that up. And then you'll see here that there's actually a maximum video bitrate here, and then a maximum audio bitrate. So, and we'll talk about that in just a second here, okay? And honestly, with the add-ons, I just kind of pick whatever. It doesn't really. It's just but really the emojis that come through in the chat, right? And then, so what you really need to focus on in the settings though is really going to be the bit rate, right? So let's go to the output here. I have a really good internet connection. Okay, I have about 700 to 800 upload speed, and my video, so I can handle the 6,000 kilobyte bit rate. Okay, so this equates to about 6 megabytes. Okay, so if you have decent internet, if your upload is 20 or above, you can handle 6 kilobytes. Okay, this is going to give you the best quality output. Okay, right? And I'm not talking about resolution. I'm talking about like video rate. Okay, and so 6K, that's the max on Twitch. Now I know with YouTube you can go up to 20. That's something I just learned recently, so that's cool. Set your audio. I mean, if you want to have good audio, boom, bump it all up to 320, right? Why not? But 128 is good. I've been apparently I've been using that for the longest time. You don't really need to mess with any of this stuff until you really want to get into the content creation. You know, you can set up a replay buffer, which is just like a section of time that you have automatically set up. You can hit a button and it'll go, okay, last 20 seconds. Let's boom, let's pump that into a file, and that's its own separate video, right? Now, this is where you under video, this is where you're going to set up your resolution, right? So 1080p, 1920 by 1080, that's what I stream at, okay? If you're just starting out and you don't have a super expensive setup, or things aren't super, you know, high end, you can bump that down to 720, especially if you're streaming to Twitch, because, you know, most people watch Twitch on their phones, right? And so the screen is small. They're not going to really see a huge difference from 720 to 1080, especially if you're pumping at a good bit rate, okay? Now, if you plan on using the streaming the 1080, you're gonna want to set it up. You're gonna want to set your bit rate up to the max, as high as you can go, right? So 6,000, right? And that's gonna be the smoothest, okay? But at 720, you can actually stream at 720p with a 4500 bit rate and lower, and it'd be just as good, okay? And not just as good, but still be really good, okay? And I also pump out at 60 frames. And now these settings are because my system can handle it. Not everybody is going to handle it, right? But once you set these up, okay, just like I said, the main things you want to focus on is your bit rate, okay? If you're streaming at 720, you can go to 4500, or actually even with 1080p, you can do 4500 kps, 4500 bit rate as well, and you're still going to come out with a fair quality stream. And you can also just drop it down to 30 frames. If you drop it down to 30 frames, it'll also help your quality as well. Okay, so those are things you kind of want to play with. Do some test streaming with those settings, and to kind of find that sweet spot with you, right? So 720, 4500, 1080p, pump it up to the max at 6,000 for Twitch. Okay, now these other things, again, don't mess with this stuff. All right, so this honestly, you don't need to worry about any of this stuff, because if you start messing around with it, you're probably gonna end up breaking something. A lot of the default settings are just fine for everyday streaming, and that's really all you need. Okay, right? There is also under tools an auto configuration wizard. Okay, I saved this for last because honestly, I feel like this is like a cheap way to go. Okay, so you can actually use this feature, and the program itself will look through your system. It'll diagnose your system almost. It'll grade your system and set the settings for what will best fit it, right? Okay, now let's talk about resolution, the bit rate, everything, right? I've used it. I ended up just pumping up a little bit higher, right? But if you still feel intimidated, you can come in here and use the auto configuration wizard, okay? But at this point, guys, you're ready to start streaming, right? At this point, you should have your service provider 2 set up, okay? Which, see, we have to Twitch. You have your webcam set up, or your camera set up now. Your default output, so your stream can hear what you're listening to on your game. You have your microphone set up, and you have your screen capture or / display capture set up, so they can see what you're seeing. Now, you're probably wondering, man, how can I see my chat? Well, all that kind of comes included with a couple different extensions with OBS, but for the time being, to keep it simple, you can just go log into Twitch, go into Stream Manager on your own channel, and pop out the chat, and you can just use that, honestly. And if you want to learn how to do plugins in OBS, just let me know, and I'll do another video all just about plugins with OBS, because there's a couple ones. There's some for verticals, so you can automatically record verticals. There's some for Twitch chat, for the Facebook chat, and kind of combine it all. There's a whole bunch of cool stuff that you can do with it. Import overlays. If you guys want me to touch on that, let me know in the comments, guys. But for now, that's gonna be the video, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you guys want to know more, just let me know in the comments what you want to know. If you have any questions, and I'll get back to you guys, and I'll see you guys on the flip.